All right, Rabbi, say good morning. Let us begin. So I want to just get in a few minutes out of Tzaddik. A little bit of Tzidkas Hatzaddik today, hopefully tomorrow a little bit also. We can't get the full 10 minutes, but just a little bit. So remember again, we left off last week in Os Pei. And in Os Pei, the Rebbe was talking about the concept of how one remedies the midah of kas, the midah of anger. So now on page Kuf Tzadik Gimel, the Rebbe transitions and talks about as follows: Tikkun l'taiva. What is the tikkun? What is the way to fix taiva? Desire. Now, of course, the Rebbe over here is referring to inappropriate desires. How does one go ahead and fix taiva? Rebbe says, isn't this the $1 million question that most of us grapple with throughout our entire lives? How do you fix taiva? So Rebbe says, it's incredible. The Rebbe devotes 2 lines to this. 2 lines. He had 2 lines to fix taiva. So the Rebbe says, listen to this. He says, Shinui Maisa. The way to go ahead and fix taiva is to change your actions. Shinui Maisa. To change your actions. What does this mean? Sheba dvar aver liyado v'nitzal himeno. When a person ultimately, again, has the opportunity to sin, but doesn't do so, bazeh niskan hakodem. Through this, any earlier indiscretions are fixed. Okay, well, what does this mean on a deeper level? Suppose if you take a look at the Be'orei Chasidus, on the bottom left-hand column of Kuf Tzadik Gimel, the Rebbe writes as follows: V'tikun l'misha nichshal ba'avera shal taiva. If a person has fallen prey to taiva, to desire. Now, remember again, the Rebbe is using taiva as kind of like a catch-all category. Right? So taiva refers to all of those things where I should be resisting the temptation to do something, but I fail to resist the temptation. So how do I fix that? So you will say, it's interesting because in general, we don't really talk about taiva, we talk about specific averos. Right? I fell prey to my desires in this or in that. The Rebbe says there sometimes in life is a general issue with lust. Sometimes I'm just lusting after all the wrong things. So that's a midah, says Rebbe. There's a midah of taiva. I am a desirous individual and have an inability to abstain. That's the problem. That's the midah. So it may manifest itself in a variety of different ways. But the midah itself is the midah of taiva, the midah of desire, and my challenge is an inability to practice restraint. So how do I go ahead and fix that midah? So the Rebbe says, Be'orei Chasidus, bottom column, left hand side, Kuf Tzadik Gimel. He says, Zevi, you're leaving nothing for the winter. I'm just saying, mamish, like this is very dramatic. Okay, so I'm looking forward. So the Rebbe says as follows. He says, "Aidi shinui ma'aseh dahainu sheyochiach b'ma'aseh shelo yoshuv ol the olam nasos averazu." So this is incredible. How do you fix taiva? This is incredible. Through abstinence, by being faced with an opportunity to do something, but holding back. So I could be about taiva, I can go ahead and exercise my desire, but I'm actively choosing to abstain. Dahainu, sheyochiach b'ma'aseh shelo yoshuv ol the olam lasos averazu. So we'll say, this blew me away. So the Rebbe says, how do you combat taiva? This is very interesting, you combat taiva by practicing abstinence. That's it. The only way to break a midah, both says how? To break the midah. This harkens back to the Rambam, right? We've mentioned this so many times throughout the years, where the Rambam writes in Hilchos Deos, right? That if a person has a problem with their temper, a person has a problem with kas, so the Rambam says, how do you address the midah of kas, terrible temper? What do? Stop getting angry. And you read it, you're like, shkoyach, I could have been the Rambam, right? I could have come up with that one. And I would say, but it's such a profound idea. Sometimes the only way, it's interesting because we're always looking, it's kind of in the same way of spirituality. We're often looking for like skulas. Everybody wants a skula for something, right? The skula for this, the skula for that. Sometimes it's not about skula. Sometimes it's about just doing the right thing. So often we're always looking for strategies or for ideas. How do I overcome this trait? How do I change? How do I this? And sometimes it's just about stop it. There's something I'm doing wrong. There's something inappropriate that I'm engaged in. Sometimes it's not about a strategy. Sometimes it's just about stopping the negative behavior. So the Rambam says, if I am a Bal Taiva, if this is the way I live, is that I satisfy every want, I satisfy every desire, which is indicative, says the Rebbe, of a general sense of life restraint. The only way to fix that is to exercise restraint. Let's say, the Rebbe writes it sounds so simple. It sounds so simple. Of course, it's not so simple, but Lamais, it is so simple. Sometimes the answers to our problems are actually pretty straight out. If I have difficulty exercising restraint, the only way to address that is to begin to exercise restraint. And the Rebbe says, all you really need to do, this is incredible, all I need to do is do it once. Because ultimately, again, once I find that courage to exercise restraint once, I show myself that I have the ability to do it. Now, again, does that mean I'm going to be perfect? Of course not. But once I show myself that I have the ability to do it, there is what to build upon. The Rebbe says, Kigon, Shebad Dvar Avera, Kizuli Yado, Umana Es Atzma Mila Asoso V'nitzal Imeno. All because we'll say, the way life happens. If a person is a Baal Taiva, it is only a matter of time until that taiva manifests itself again, right? Only a matter of time until that opportunity, that desirous opportunity manifests itself again. He says, what's going to happen? And if I choose this time to exercise restraint, and as a result, I don't fall prey to my taiva, min avera, bazeh niskan Gam ha'avon ha'kodim shes gabra lavatayva v'nichshaba v'lo etzlicha lekavsha. So I will say, interesting enough, the Rebbe says that when I exercise restraint, and therefore don't commit this particular avera again, not only have I saved myself from avera, but I also have the opportunity to what? To go ahead and atone for the previous indiscretions of the past. We'll say, I just point out over here, if this sounds familiar, it's because in footnotes Shin Samech Beis and Shin Samech Gimel, so he points out over here that this is really reflective of the Gemara Maseches Yuma. The Gemara says, what is a Bal Tshuva Gemura? Right? When do you become an absolute Bal Tshuva? The Gemara says, when you come face to face with the same circumstances that you have in the past. But in the past, I sinned. In the past, I gave in to my desires and passions. And now, I find the koach to stand up to them. That's called the Bal Tshuva Gemura. That's complete tshuva. So that's really what the Rebbe is describing over here. But I will say he's really framing it because I think all of us encounter taivas in different areas of life, right? We all have those desires. That the truth is, we often find difficult to exercise restraint. For some people, again, it's often it changes as we get older and in different stages in life, but we all have those taivas that we struggle with. And the Rebbe says the only way, and taiva, the issue of taiva, is I have an inability to exhibit restraint. And the Rebbe says so beautifully, the only way to address that is to become the kind of individuals who are capable of exercising restraint. It sounds so simple, but says Rebbe, all I need to do is do it once. Ultimately, again, showing myself that I possess that capability, showing myself that I possess that particular koach, and ultimately one is able to battle taiva. All right, boss, we'll stop over here for today. We'll pick up, and I'm going to try to finish up Os Pei. There's one more piece I will say. So far we've done Kas. So far we've done taiva, and now, interestingly enough, the last piece we'll discuss in Pei is kavod. Those who desire kavod, constantly desire honor, how we ultimately address that, and Mirat Hashem tomorrow. Shkoyach.